any sign that you have, you give it a number. So this sign, which means or, is the number 2. This sign, which is there is 4. So every symbol, every letter, you give a number. Every expression, you give a number. Right? You have numerical variables. You have sentential variables, which means there exists an x, for which x is equal to the previous of y. That sentence is 13 to the power of 2. Pay attention, the numbers he uses here are prime numbers. There's a reason why he uses that. But just observe for the moment that he only uses prime numbers. And then he has composites, expressions like greater than, that he labels with the 3rd power. Now, then he translates any expression like there exists an x, for which x is equal to the previous of y. This bracket was an 8. This there is was a 4. This x was an 11. He decomposes all that. And then you see here the series of prime numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29. What's the next one? 31, I think, right? That are the prime numbers. And he puts in exponent those values. And that gives what he calls a Gödel number. This Gödel number, if you would calculate that, is the Gödel number that expresses this expression. And he translates all those mathematical expressions that he needed to make his proof into numerical theory. So he basically created a language within which he was able to prove self-reference. What does Escher do? Why is Escher able to have you think that water runs up? You know why? Since he makes a self-referential frame, he slightly changes perspective. What Gödel does is he creates another perspective. So that within his perspective, that is slightly different from reality, you believe him, and once you start to believe him, once you start to believe his ontology, you catch his epistemology. You know what his epistemology is? That the water runs up, which in a classical framework is not true. What is the essence of self-reference? Every system of human beings is self-referential. And I give you one example, which is the legal system. Imagine that we talk about the system of justice. What is the purpose of the system of justice? You think that you have been treated not just, unfair. You go to the system of justice and you say, I've been treated unfair by him. And then the system of justice listens to you, listens to him, makes a decision, and that's it. There are very simple cases like a divorce. You were married, you want to divorce, you get 2 wise people in front of you. I tell my story, my wife tells her story. Those 2 people listen and say, look, 60% for her, 40% for him. That is what justice is all about, essentially. It's not about laws, it's about justice. In order, since we believe in a rational world, since our ontology is rational, we say, yeah, but if I ask these 2 people to deal with that, they're going to be very emotional. And that's not good, it has to be rational. You know what? We're going to make some laws, some rules of the game. And instead of you listening to me, you have to catch the rule which you want to apply on my case. Now, every second case is a different case. You add another law, you add another law. There are something like 36,000 laws in France, right, today. If anybody hopes to know them, congratulations. Now, I don't think you'll ever be able to know the legal structure of this country in which you live every day. That's how stupid it became. How did it become so stupid? Well, very efficient. If I make rules and more rules, why do I make these rules? In order to be more efficient, right? That's the reason I make rules, to be clear, transparent, efficient. Once I have a set of rules that goes beyond 100, 200, me, as the one who wants to be treated fair, I don't know these rules anymore. So I need somebody, you call that a lawyer, I need somebody who represents me and who knows these 100 laws. Yeah? And the judges, on the other hand, also became professional, and they say, look, we also know these 100 rules. So we have an in-crowd of people that know those 100 rules or 1,000 rules. And those in-crowd of people, they all speak the same language, and therefore it goes more efficient. And then you have the out-crowd of people, which is me, But don't forget that justice is about me, not about them, eh? Then there is me, who doesn't understand the shit that is taking place there anymore. And he says, oh, is this about me? Oh, interesting. Up to the point that in Holland, which is sort of a civilized country, that's what I thought until recently, you're not allowed to defend yourself anymore. I'm reasonably educated. I can reasonably say what I want to say. So I thought, I'm going to defend myself. I can convince the whole world. Wrong. I'm not allowed to do that. I need to take a lawyer. It's about me, guys. Can I be present? Yeah, you can be present and shut up at the back, right? You're not allowed to say anything. No. It's far away from justice. You continue. Huh? What happens at the end is that there's an in-crowd of people that for efficiency reasons have rationalized their language, that for the outside world is completely ununderstandable. And unfortunately, that in-crowd process deals about that out-crowd world. That's what happens with companies. Companies organize themselves in such a way that's ideal for efficiency reasons. They forget that they serve a client. There is this poor client that doesn't know how your company works. I buy something and it doesn't work. And there I have a problem, right? I don't know, but they don't give service today anymore. So I buy a computer which is within guarantee. I bring it back and the screen doesn't work anymore. They say, oh, okay, but we don't deal with that. We subcontract that. I can't care that you subcontract that. I buy it from you. You give me a guarantee. Yeah. Okay, we'll send it to somebody else. And then it comes back, and then I ask someone, say, we don't know since they did that. I can't care that. Yeah, but it's more efficient if they do that, right? And then comes the problem. A month later, when the PC is out of guarantee, the screen breaks down again. And then everybody says, but it isn't me, it's him. They've organized themselves in such a way as they have organized in order to be more efficient. You as a client feel that you're not served anymore. This is the most remarkable thing that happens in companies. Companies close down and get their entire internal logic. And customers that are outside don't understand your logic anymore. It's one of the most dangerous concepts in management, it's self-reference. Self-reference, however, is something very positive, since it helps you be extremely efficient. Catch the idea of self-reference. It's a very, very strong idea. Once you get three people together, they're going to organize themselves using a kind of language that the others don't understand anymore. Why? Since it's efficient. For instance, you all use in France these kind of abbreviations that I don't understand. Now, it's very efficient amongst yourselves, but I'm out. So if you would have the idea to integrate me, then use normal words. We all do that everywhere. A company does that. But a company, by doing that, distantiates from the client. And don't forget that at the end of the day, you have your company for the client, not for yourself. If you accept a complex ontology, you're able to see self-reference. If you don't accept a complex ontology, you are unable to see self-reference. Consequence of that approach is causality. Popper did not introduce causality, but if you start to falsify and justify, you can only falsify and justify using causalities. So Popper didn't introduce causality, but he made causality a very essential part of our thinking. So most of the managerial thinking that you'll get will be highly causal. And that is nothing more but a